Like you can't just say, "Oh, here's my product now, please come buy it," right? You have to get out there and you have to get the word out, and that's where the marketing of your products comes into play. And I think a lot of mobility functions don't think about it that way. The thing we like to share is thinking about mobility like a business. I think it's a kind of a novel way to think about mobility, and it's a great hack for trying to think about how to add value to your organization. And when we say act like a business, we've got the top 5 things we want to share with people. And the top 5 things are we really should be thinking about the fact that we've got clients in global mobility, we've got products, we have to deal with pricing, we have to do marketing, and we have to be super efficient with our manufacturing. And so if you think about those top 5 things, it's kind of a fun way to think about mobility.
I don't know. It sounds like a lot, Morgan. I think we should
Uh,
break this down piece by piece.
Leave it to me to be overly ambitious. All right, well, let's start. I'll start with clients, right? When we are in global mobility, we have 3 main clients. We have the company who's trying to have a global workforce. We have the business who has to fill a position or a need, for a talent. And then we've got the employee that we're actually relocating. And when we start to think about them like clients, we can start to think about, well, what kind of experience do I want to deliver? What kind of relationships do I want to have with my clients? How do I delight them? How do I make sure that they're really happy with my services? I think that's a big mindset shift from thinking about just as operations, which is the way that a lot of mobility has thought about themselves in the past.
Yep, definitely.
Um, so when you do have clients, you have to have products that you're selling them, right? And I think we often think about our policies as, do we do this or do we do that? Will I cover that or will I not cover that? But really, if we think about them like products, then we start to think about them as ways to empower the whole company to have a mobile workforce or to have the business be able to have the talent that they need where they need them or to delight the employee with flexible choices. And so if we think about them like products, then we can design that way and not think of them as just a Dr. No version of what I'll pay for or won't pay for. And with any product, Brooke, I think you're really well aware that the product has to be priced right, right? So that's where you often come in mobility and help people with pricing. So let's think about that.
Yep, exactly. So if you want to go and purchase something, you are aware of how much it costs. And when you're determining the pricing for your products that you're offering to your clients, you want to think about the different investment levels. And that's really thinking about your internal context. So, what are your business investment levels based on your objectives and your goals within the organization? But then there's also an external perspective as well, because you want your offerings to be competitive in the marketplace. And often that's where benchmarking can come into play to understand perhaps what your competitors or peer companies, sort of how they're pricing their services and products. So pricing is definitely a big part of it. And then I think once you have all of these blocks in place, the next step is being able to showcase all of this to the clients.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, here's my product now, please come buy it," right? You have to get out there and you have to get the word out, and that's where the marketing of your products comes into play. And I think a lot of mobility functions don't think about it that way. But if you think, "Hey, I have to get the word out and let people know that I've developed all these great products. They're priced the right way to allow for different ways to deploy talent at different investment levels, and here's how I can help you get more talent deployed at the right price or for the right reasons. And let me help you see how those products can help you." And a lot of times, another reason that we need to think about marketing is because mobility functions are just like a couple of people within an organization, yet there are thousands of people within your organization that might need to use your products and services. And so some companies will be creative and actually do things like fireside chats or have marketing campaigns or post things on their company portals to get the word out, or they'll designate individuals within the function whose job it is to point into the business or the enterprise. So there's really good ways to get those products out there. But we can have all the best products on the planet, we can market them really well, but in order to be profitable, we have to have good efficiency. So So, Brooke, any thoughts on how we do that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can have all these fabulous ideas, but ultimately you need to implement them and operationalize them. And that's where it's really important to have the pieces in place to actually accomplish this. And that could be the right technology or the right vendor support or having the right internal stakeholder support that you need internally. So it's really getting the materials and the technology and the processes set up in a way to really be able to deliver on all of these lofty things that we just discussed.